Hi, it's Terry Gaines. I'm going to give you some assembly tips on creating a fun fold card using the Framed for You stamp set and the Birds and Branches stamp set. Both these stamp sets are available in the new 2020-2021 Stampin' Up! Catalog. I'm going to use the Stamparatus, and I'm going to place the frame from the Framed for You stamp set on the platform of the Stamparatus. I have a sheet of the small grid paper on here, and I've got that placed right in the corner, and then I've got the two magnets holding it down. I do put painter's tape on my magnets to create a handle to help pick them up. Once I have the frame placed down on the platform, I placed it a little distance from the hinge, and I'm going to bring one of the plates down and pick up the frame, and then it adheres to the plate. So what I'm going to do is stamp this with crumb cake ink. When you are stamping, you just want the ink on the surface of your stamp. So just a tap, tap, tap to get the ink on the surface. You don't want to press hard because then you get the ink in the crevice of the stamp. And you're going to get the best image result by just having it on the surface. Then I'm going to bring the plate back down to the grid paper and stamp the frame. So now what I did was created a location for where that image is going to stamp on the grid paper. The next thing I did was take a piece of very vanilla cardstock. This is about 4 1/4 by 5 1/4 in size, and I cut out a square using the layering square dies. What I'm going to do is use this as a template. So I need enough space on the top and bottom for the magnet to be in place. Then I'm going to place this piece of cardstock down, looking at all 4 sides of the frame to get equal thickness on the frame on all 4 sides. Then I'm going to take both magnets and hold that down in place. The next thing I'm going to do is take this cutout from this inside of this piece of cardstock and place that in place. So you want to make sure that it is in there flush. So I've got that in place. Now I'm going to take the ink pad, ink up the frame stamp again by tap, tap, tapping the ink. And then when I bring this down, it will stamp onto that square that I have cut out. The nice thing about the Stamparatus, if I didn't put enough ink on it or I didn't press well in one area, it's all in the same location, so you can ink it up again and stamp again. But I am happy with my results. So now I'm going to take this image out, and now I have my frame all stamped up. Once you have all this set up, you can go ahead and stamp as many of these images as you need for your upcoming projects. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to continue stamping. So just to let you know, I use the Stamparatus to stamp these little birds with the Birds and Branches stamp set. I use crumb cake and soft suede. There will be a link on the bottom of this, in the comment section of this video, and on my blog post showing you how I did that, how I stamped that up. So there'll be a direct link to that. So the next thing I'm going to do is stamp a sentiment in the square frame, and I'm going to use a sentiment that's in the Framed for You stamp set. I'm going to use soft suede for the ink pad color, and this stamp says, "Thinking of You." And what I like to do before I stamp on my project paper is to see how well I've placed this on my block for alignment. So I line the edge of the clear block to a line on the grid paper and stamp it to see if I am okay as it is or if I need to move the one end up or down. And I actually think I did pretty well with the alignment. So I'm just going to now stamp directly on my project paper. So I've got the sentiment stamped there. So the next thing we need to do is assemble the card. So for the first portion of the card, I have a piece of cardstock that is 2 3/4 by 6 3/4, scored at 2 3/4. This is Early Espresso, and I've already scored it with the Simply Scoring tool. This fold is going to be on the right-hand side. On this top smaller panel, I am going to adhere the frame, and there's a slight border on all sides of that. So we're going to just place that down with adhesive. I'm going to use the Stampin' Up! Adhesive and apply it at all corners. Then what I'm going to do is look for equal spacing and place that right on this project paper, right like so. So as I mentioned, the fold's going to be on the right. This area here is for the inside sentiment. This piece of cardstock is very vanilla. It is 2.5 by 3 3/4 in size. And what I'm going to do is adhere this with adhesive. And when I have a longer piece like this with the score line, I actually just watch the top and bottom and the end side. So these 3 sides for equal spacing. And I let the rest of this just fall into place because it should be equal if these sides are equal. So now that I have this, excuse me, I'm going to apply it to a card base. The card base is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, scored at 5 1/2. I did this ahead of time with the Simply Scoring, and the color I'm using is Early Espresso, and this fold is going to be on the left. I'm going to adhere this to the card panel, the main panel of the card. Again, we're just going to use adhesive on this. So apply adhesive, and now I'm looking for equal spacing top and bottom and equal spacing left and right. So just equal here and equal here, then equal here and equal here, and place this down. So now this is going to open like that. So that's a fun fold card. So what I'm going to do is decorate this panel. I'm going to use the very same color. I'm going to use Early Espresso, and this piece of cardstock is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. What I did was I ran it through the 3D brick and mortar folder to add a embossed texture to that. That's going to add that just that subtle look that this piece of cardstock needs. You could add designer series paper, you could use a different folder, and I actually kind of like this brick and mortar one. It's very versatile for lots of different projects. So this has just got a 1/16 inch of border all the way around. So now that just dressed up that portion really well. The next piece that's going to embellish this card is the branch from the Birds and More dies that coordinate with the Birds and Branches stamp set. I have a piece of mossy metal cardstock that is 2 inches by 4 1/2. I ran this through a die cutting machine to cut out the branch portion. This is going to be adhered to the card front little panel, and some of the branches are going to hang over the edge. So I want to make sure my adhesive is only on the pieces that are going to adhere to the framed image. So what I'm going to do to attach that is bring in a craft silicone mat. I'm going to use the Tombow glue and just apply this, put some glue right on this mat. Then I have a stamping sponge that I cut and dedicate to the glue. And what I'm going to do is, I know that I don't want adhesive on this portion. I'm okay with adhesive here. So what I do is I just place this down on my craft silicone mat, tap into the glue, and then just tap into this portion of the branch, bring it back over here, and then I can place this down, and this is going to adhere very well. So now I have this set up so I don't have adhesive on these ends, and it is. And if you happen to, I see a little bit right there, just let it dry before you close it. You can actually take an eraser and erase it off. So if you happen to, which I actually, looks like I happen to have some, just make sure you don't close it right away, put it in an envelope, because you're going to glue that little leaf to the panel of the card. The last piece to embellish this is to take the little bird, and I have a couple dimensionals on the back. I'm going to take the Take Your Pick tool, which is a great tool. I think I got that backing off. Yep. A great tool as a paper piercer. This brush is an add-on that you can add on. I actually took the portion that you get with the Take Your Pick tool that's got the little putty in it for picking up embellishments. I keep that off, and I keep my brush on that end. So what I'm going to do is attach this bird. You can decide where you want that placed. I'm going to place it right like that. The last embellishments I'm going to add are the pearls. These are the basic pearls. You get 100 little ones, 20 medium, and 20 large. I'm going to take the larger of the pearls, take this Take Your Pick tool, and pick up the pearls. Let's see if I got enough putty in there. We do sell the replacement putties if you need to, and then if you need to pick up more putty, you just, or you get more putty, you just push the end down. And this works great for picking up those embellishments, adding them to your project, and that finishes our embellishments for our fun fold card. If you found me via YouTube, you can look in the comments section for a direct link to my blog post, where you'll find the supply list, measurements, and instructions for this project. There'll be a PDF tutorial you can download. I would love to have you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the red box under the video. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed creating this project with me. Stay safe and stay healthy.